Hey there, history enthusiasts! Welcome back to A Quick Note. Today, we're diving into a pivotal moment that shaped the course of history, the attack on Pearl Harbor and the United States' entry into World War II. It's a story of surprise, resilience, and the turning point that altered the world. Before we unravel this chapter, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to A Quick Note, and let's get started. It's December 7th, 1941, a peaceful Sunday morning at Pearl Harbor, a U.S. naval base in Hawaii. Everything seems calm, but then, out of nowhere, hundreds of Japanese fighter planes swoop down in a surprise attack. In the blink of an eye, chaos erupts as they wreak havoc, destroying or damaging almost 20 American naval vessels, including 8 mighty battleships and more than 300 airplanes. The toll is heartbreaking. Over 400 Americans lose their lives, civilians among them, and another 1,000 are left wounded. The very next day, President Franklin D. Roosevelt goes to Congress with a heavy heart and a clear message. It's time to declare war on Japan. That devastating attack on Pearl Harbor becomes a turning point in history, marking the United States' entry into World War II. Now let's dive into the lead-up to the war and the surprising attack on Pearl Harbor. First things first, where is Pearl Harbor? It's in Hawaii, right smack in the middle of the vast Pacific Ocean. Picture this, about 2,000 miles from the U.S. mainland and a whopping 4,000 miles from Japan. It's like a tiny dot in the big blue. Here's the kicker. Nobody saw it coming. Why? Well, nobody thought the Japanese would kick off a war by hitting the far-off paradise of Hawaii. It just seemed too remote and unlikely. Even the smart folks in American intelligence were pretty sure that if the Japanese were up to something, they'd go for one of the closer spots in the South Pacific, like the Dutch East Indies, Singapore, or Indochina. Imagine their surprise when the unexpected unfolded in the Pacific's middle, catching everyone off guard. Sometimes even the best guesses can miss the mark. Now here's the twist in the tale. American military big shots didn't see it coming. They weren't expecting trouble so close to home. So guess where almost the entire Pacific Fleet decided to hang out? Right around Ford Island in Pearl Harbor, with planes packed like sardines on nearby airfields. Now, this might sound like a military party, but here's the catch. It made Pearl Harbor a piece of cake for the Japanese. The place was practically asking for it, sitting there all vulnerable. The Japanese saw it as an open invitation, an irresistibly easy target. Sometimes, when you least expect it, trouble knocks on your front door. Let me take you to the day the USS Arizona faced a devastating blow. So the Japanese had a straightforward plan. Wipe out the Pacific Fleet. If they could do that, the Americans wouldn't stand much of a chance as Japan's forces swept across the South Pacific. On that fateful December 7th, after months of plotting and practicing, the Japanese put their plan into action. Around 8 a.m., the sky over Pearl Harbor turned into a chaotic canvas of Japanese planes. Imagine bombs and bullets pouring down on the ships below. At 8:10, a colossal 1,800-pound bomb crashed through the deck of the USS Arizona, finding its way to the forward ammunition magazine. The result? A catastrophic explosion, and the ship, with more than 1,000 men trapped inside, went down. But the onslaught didn't stop there. Torpedoes sliced through the battleship USS Oklahoma. With 400 sailors on board, the Oklahoma lost her balance, tipped over, and slipped beneath the waves. It was a moment of intense tragedy and destruction, etched into the history of that infamous day. In less than 2 hours, the sneak attack had come and gone. When the dust settled, every battleship in Pearl Harbor, from the USS Arizona to the USS Nevada, had taken a serious hit. The list goes on. USS Oklahoma, USS California, USS West Virginia, USS Utah, USS Maryland, USS Pennsylvania, USS Tennessee, all of them left battered and bruised. Now, here's a bit of a silver lining. All of them, except for the USS Arizona and USS Utah, were eventually rescued from the depths and patched up. It's a testament to the resilience and determination to bounce back from the darkest moments of that infamous day. Now let's talk about the aftermath of the Pearl Harbor attack. The Japanese assault left a trail of destruction. Nearly 20 American ships, over 300 airplanes, dry docks, and airfields were either crippled or wiped out. It was a heavy blow, and the cost in human lives was staggering, with more than 2,000 people losing their lives. However, here's where the story takes a twist. While the Japanese succeeded in causing significant damage, they fell short of crippling the Pacific Fleet. You see, by the 1940s, battleships weren't the top dogs of naval warfare anymore. The real game-changers were aircraft carriers, and here's the kicker. All of the Pacific Fleet's carriers were nowhere near Pearl Harbor on that fateful day. Some were back on the mainland and others were off delivering planes to troops on Midway and Wake Islands. It was a stroke of luck for the U.S., and the strategic importance of aircraft carriers had just taken center stage in the evolving face of naval warfare. Let's delve into the aftermath and the human toll of the Pearl Harbor attack. Surprisingly, the crucial onshore facilities at the base, like oil storage depots, repair shops, shipyards, and submarine docks, managed to escape the brunt of the assault. This stroke of luck meant that the U.S. Navy could bounce back relatively swiftly from the attack. Now let's talk numbers. The attack on Pearl Harbor took the lives of 2,403 U.S. personnel, including sailors, soldiers, and civilians. Beyond that, 178 people were wounded and 129 Japanese soldiers lost their lives in the engagement. Here's a staggering fact: half of those who perished were on the USS Arizona. Today, the sunken battleship stands as a poignant memorial, honoring all Americans who lost their lives in the tragic events of that day. It serves as a reminder of the human cost and the resilience of a nation in the face of unexpected adversity. Let's rewind to a moment etched in history. President Franklin D. Roosevelt addressing a joint session of the U.S. Congress on December 8th, the day following the devastating Pearl Harbor attack. In a solemn tone, he declared, "Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan." With those words, Roosevelt marked the beginning of a new chapter, one that propelled the United States into the heart of World War II. Continuing his address, President Roosevelt conveyed a resolute message. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory. I believe I interpret the will of the Congress and of the people when I assert that we will not only defend ourselves to the uttermost, but will make very certain that this form of treachery shall never endanger us again. The aftermath of the Pearl Harbor attack marked a pivotal moment. For the first time in years of deliberation, discussion, and debate, the American people found themselves united in a common resolve. They were determined to enter the war. The events of that infamous day stirred a collective determination to defend their nation and ensure that such treacherous acts would never pose a threat again. The stage was set for America's entry into World War II. The Japanese had a plan. They aimed to pressure the United States into lifting economic sanctions against them. However, their strategy backfired. Instead of securing an agreement, they inadvertently pushed the U.S. into a worldwide conflict that eventually led to Japan's first occupation by a foreign power. On December 8th, Congress gave the green light to President Roosevelt's declaration of war on Japan. Just 3 days later, Japan's allies, Germany and Italy, reciprocated by declaring war against the United States. In response, Congress took another decisive step, declaring war on the European powers. More than 2 years after the outset of World War II, the United States found itself fully immersed in the global conflict. The wheels of war were set in motion, altering the course of history. And there you have it, folks. The events at Pearl Harbor, marked by tragedy and courage, catapulted the United States into a global conflict. If you enjoyed this quick dive into history, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Subscribe for more fascinating insights, and ring that notification bell to stay updated. Thanks for joining us on A Quick Note. Until next time, keep exploring the past, and we'll catch you in the next episode.